While some engines barely survive 100,000 miles, others just keep going, 500,000, a million, and still don't ask for a rebuild. Today I've picked 16 power plants that handle extreme heat, freezing winters, bad fuel, and years of abuse, all while keeping strong compression and asking for almost no special care. These are engines proven by taxi fleets mechanics and real-world high-mileage owners. Number 16. 16. Toyota 1NZ FE. The Toyota 1NZ FE is a textbook example of Japan's simple but bulletproof engineering. This 1.5-liter naturally aspirated engine was used in the Corolla, the Yaris, and tons of other Toyota models around the world. Its biggest advantage? A timing chain instead of a belt, meaning fewer service intervals and fewer surprises. Because it's a non-turbo engine with classic port injection, it can run even on mediocre gasoline without knocking itself to death. It tolerates overheating better than most modern engines, and it doesn't mind endless stop-and-go city driving. With regular oil and filter changes, the 1NZ EV easily goes over 300,000 miles, and real-world cases of 450,000 miles without a rebuild are completely normal, parts are cheap, the layout is simple, and that's why mechanics everywhere love this engine. It doesn't need perfect fuel, perfect climate, or perfect owners. It starts reliably in cold weather, forgives almost any mistake, and even after 20 years on the road, many of these engines still hold factory-level compression. Number 15. 15. Honda K24A. The legendary Honda K series. The K24A is one of the engines that built Honda's reputation for runs-forever reliability. This 2.4-liter engine was used in the Accord, the CR-V, and several other Honda models known for durability. A heavy-duty timing chain replaces the belt, eliminating the risk of sudden failure and reducing long-term service costs. The K24A blends strength with performance. It can sit at high RPMs all day, something Honda owners love to do, and it still holds compression even with mid-grade oil. Thanks to Honda's VTEC variable timing system, the engine stays responsive, flexible, and surprisingly efficient. With proper maintenance, the K24A often runs 400,000 miles or more. Simple engineering, accessible parts, and impressive endurance made the K24A one of the most trusted naturally aspirated engines of its era. Many mechanics call it the gold standard of Honda reliability, an engine that can outlive the car it came in. 14. Mitsubishi 4G63. The Mitsubishi 4G63 is one of the most iconic engines ever to come out of Japan. If the K-Series built Honda's reputation, the 4G63 built Mitsubishi's. With its heavy-duty cast-iron block, this engine can handle extreme loads, big power increases, and years of abuse without flinching, and the simple, straightforward design makes it incredibly easy to service. The 4G63 was installed in dozens of Mitsubishi models, from the Lancer to the Galant, and of course the legendary Evolution lineup. Even in its basic naturally aspirated form, the engine can surpass 300,000 miles without needing a rebuild. And in turbo form? Owners doubled the factory horsepower and the engine still kept running. This motor keeps stable compression, idles smoothly, and doesn't fear high RPMs, as long as you stick to regular oil changes and decent fuel. Simple architecture, strong internals, and outstanding durability made the 4G63 one of Mitsubishi's most respected engines ever built. It's a symbol of the era when over-engineering wasn't a marketing term, it was the standard. 13. Nissan QG18DE. The Nissan QG18DE is a perfect example of Nissan's golden early 2000s engineering, a simple, naturally aspirated 1.8-liter engine with minimal electronics and maximum reliability. It powered cars like the Almira, Primera, and Sentra, where it could run for years without needing anything more than oil changes. With dual overhead cams, a timing chain system, and a robust port injection setup, the QG18DE built a reputation for being extremely forgiving. This engine survives lazy maintenance, cheap oils, and questionable fuel. Drivers joke that it uses oil but never dies. And honestly, that's pretty accurate. Many QG18DE engines run 300,000 plus miles, and plenty cross 400,000 without any major repairs. Even when owners treat them badly, the engines keep pulling and maintain respectable compression. It doesn't care about climate, traffic, or road conditions. From highway commuting to dirt roads, the QG18DE just runs. That's why it's remembered as one of Nissan's toughest old-school engines, the kind they don't really make anymore. Number 12. Toyota 1UZ FE. The 1UZFE is the textbook definition of Toyota durability, a 4.0-liter naturally aspirated V8 originally built for the flagship LS400, designed from day one to last. It uses a forged crank, thick-walled aluminum blocks, and perfectly balanced internals. Everything you want if smooth and unbreakable is the goal. These motors routinely go well into 7 digits of kilometers on preserved examples. Yes, you heard that right. Examples with over 1 million kilometers exist with minimal intervention. Heat, cold, high revs, none of it phases the 1UZ when it's been built and maintained correctly. Thanks to quality assembly and relatively simple servicing, many of these engines still hold factory compression decades later. In short, the 1UZ is the kind of engine that can outlive the car it was fitted to. Number 11. Subaru EJ20. The EJ20 is the flat four that powered legends like the Impreza and Forester. Its boxer layout gives Subaru that low center of gravity and signature growl, but the EJ20's real headline is longevity when looked after. With regular oil changes and proper maintenance, many EJ20s cruise past 350-400k miles without a major rebuild. A strong aluminum block, straightforward internals, and an effective cooling system, when not neglected, let the EJ20 survive both commuter duty and spirited WRX life. Yes, some versions have a reputation for being picky. Neglected examples develop head gasket and overheating troubles, but the vast majority of failures trace back to bad maintenance, not the design itself. Bottom line, the EJ20 rewards care with real longevity. It's a classic case of engineered well, lives long. Number 10. Mercedes OM6 170. If you want built like a tank, the 5-cylinder OM6 170 diesel is your poster child. Introduced in the 70s, this mechanical diesel is the archetype of old-school robustness. Cast iron block, mechanical injection pump, almost zero electronics. These engines ran taxis, ambulances, long-haul vans, and still show up on the used market with 700k, 1000k plus kilometers on the clock. They tolerate poor fuel, brutal climates, deep cold starts, and years of low-tech maintenance. The OM617's main components barely wear out, and when they do, a competent mechanic can rebuild them in a farm garage. That simplicity, mechanical injection, rugged internals, is precisely what keeps them running for decades. To many mechanics, the OM6 117 remains the gold standard of diesel that simply won't die. Number 9. BMW M57. The BMW M57. 3.0-liter straight-six diesel blends German engineering with serious longevity. Fitted to E39, E60, and early X5 models, this common rail turbocharged 6 stays smooth, torquey, and surprisingly durable. Built around a cast iron block and a robust injection system, a well-maintained M57 will comfortably hit 400k, 500k kilometers on original internals. Many continue starting reliably past 800k with careful care. Turbos on these engines last a long time if you don't abuse them, and compression stays respectable even after high mileage. Owners praise the M57 for its fuel economy, balance, and endurance. It became the diesel benchmark for BMWs, a motor that rewards attention to oil and service intervals with very long life. Number 8. Volvo B230. The Volvo B230 is the epitome of Scandinavian pragmatism, simple, heavy, and built to keep going. A cast iron block, a single camshaft in many variants, a belt or chain drive depending on the year. Nothing fancy, just rock-solid engineering. This engine gained a reputation for near-bulletproof service life. In real life, you'll find B230s with close to 1 million kilometers on the clock, still holding compression and idling cleanly. The head is resistant to overheating, the block barely wears, and basic maintenance, oil, filters, and valve adjustments where needed, keeps them alive for decades. Mechanics worldwide love the B230 because it's easy to work on and forgiving of abuse. It's the kind of engine that proves complexity isn't a virtue when your goal is longevity. The B230 is a classic survive-anything motor. No. 7. Mazda Wankel rotary engine. Number 7. The Mazda rotary, the famous Wankel engine. A masterpiece of engineering, and at the same time one of the most high-maintenance engines ever sold to regular humans. The rotary is light, compact, revs to the moon, has almost no moving parts, and when it works, it feels like magic. But the real-world reliability? Let's just say it's the type of engine you buy because you love it, not because you want it to last. The biggest enemy, apex seals. These tiny pieces of metal decide literally everything about the engine's life. If they wear out, chip, burn, or lose compression, that's it. The engine is done, and you're looking at a rebuild. Add to that high fuel consumption, high oil consumption by design, overheating issues, and extreme sensitivity to maintenance. You skip one thing, it punishes you immediately. And yet, rotary fans are dedicated. They'll rebuild the engine at 150,000 kilometers and say, yeah, that's normal. It's a legendary motor, but not the one you choose if you want to cross the 100,000 kilometer line without drama. The rotary is brilliant, fun, unique, but fragile as a champagne glass on a rally track. Number 6. Chrysler Cheshire Dodge 2.7 V6 EER. Number 6. Chrysler's 2.7-liter V6, also known as the engine that turned mechanics into therapists. On paper, it looked okay. Modern V6, decent power, aluminum design, fuel efficient, but in real life, it became famous for all the wrong reasons. Major problem: sludge buildup. This engine created sludge like a factory. Poor oil return passages, high operating temperatures, and sensitive tolerances meant that even slightly delayed oil changes could ruin the entire engine. Once sludge forms, oil starvation begins. Then you get timing chain damage, bearing wear, overheating, and eventually total failure. Many engines didn't even reach 100,000 kilometers without major internal damage. Owners tried every oil, every additive, every flush, but once sludge got bad, it was game over. The irony? This engine lived during the early 2000s when Chrysler quality control wasn't exactly at its peak. In short, the 2.7 V6 is one of the most notorious American engines of its era, a motor that looked modern but aged like milk in the sun. Number 5. Nissan QR25DE. Number 5. Nissan's QR25DE, the 2.5-liter four-cylinder found in the Altima, Sentra SER, X-Trail, and a bunch of other models. This engine had potential, good torque, decent efficiency, nice low-end pull, but early versions suffered from a list of issues long enough to fill a service manual. Number 1. Oil consumption. Not just a little, some engines burned a liter every 1,000 kilometers, and that's if the owner was lucky. Number 2. Pre-cat failure. The catalytic converter sits dangerously close to the exhaust ports. When it breaks up, ceramic dust gets sucked back into the engine, destroying the cylinder walls and piston rings. If this happens once, the engine starts burning oil and never stops. Then we've got stretched timing chains, vibrations, and intake manifold problems on early versions. To be fair, Nissan improved the engine after 2007, but the reputation was already damaged. Many QR25DEs don't make it to 150,000 kilometers without at least one major repair, and some fail even earlier. It had potential, but its design flaws turned it into one of Nissan's most problematic modern four-cylinders. Number 4. Ford 1.6 EcoBoost Fox engine. Number 4. Ford's 1.6 EcoBoost, a turbocharged engine that promised efficiency and excitement, and then delivered overheating, cracked blocks, and a lot of sad Fiesta and Focus owners. This engine was part of Ford's downsizing revolution, where small motors got big turbos. Great idea, until you realize the cooling system wasn't ready for the heat these engines produced. The main horror story? Coolant loss. A tiny coolant leak could quickly escalate into major overheating, warped heads, or even engine fires in extreme cases. Yes, Ford actually had to issue recalls because some of these engines were literally catching fire. Next issue, carbon buildup on intake valves from direct injection, leading to rough idle and power loss. Then add weak pistons, turbo failures, and high oil consumption on early units. A lot of these engines struggle to reach 100,000 kilometers without at least one big repair, especially if the owner didn't watch coolant levels like a hawk. In short, a fun engine on paper, but in real-world use, it was a ticking time bomb, and that's why the 1.6 EcoBoost takes the number 4 spot. Number 3, Hyundai Kia G4FA, Gamma 1.4 Tor 1.6. Number 3, Hyundai and Kia's Gamma engine family, especially the 1.4 and 1.6 G4FA versions. If you've ever driven a Rio, Solaris, i20, or early Elantra and heard a strange knocking noise at low mileage, yeah, that sound, that's the Gamma. The biggest issue, piston slap and rod bearing wear. These engines can develop knocking as early as 40-60,000 kilometers. In many cases, this isn't just noise, it's the first sign of internal wear. The reason? Thin piston skirts, aggressive emissions tuning, and tight tolerances that don't love poor fuel or long oil intervals. Another problem, oil consumption. Not catastrophic like Nissan's QR engines, but enough to damage bearings if ignored, and once bearings go, it's game over. The crank gets scored, the block gets damaged, and the engine usually can't be repaired cheaply. Many Gamma engines fail well before 150,000 kilometers, and some don't make it past 100,000 without overhaul. That's why used car buyers often avoid early Hyundai Kia models with these motors. It's efficient, it's cheap to run, but long-term reliability isn't its strong side. No. 2. Renault Nissan H4M Xiaoyong HR16DE. Number 2. The Renault Nissan H4M Xiaoyong HR16DE, a 1.6-liter engine used in the Logan, Sandero, Qashqai, Sentra, and dozens of budget cars across the world. 1935. This motor is known for one thing: early wear. Despite its simple design, it ages fast, much faster than Renault or Nissan expected. The biggest problem: piston ring wear and loss of compression, sometimes happening at only 80 to 120,000 kilometers. Engines begin burning oil, misfiring, and losing power. Another issue: chain stretch. Timing chains that should last the life of the engine start rattling at surprisingly low mileage. The H4M also suffers from weak valves, sensitive injectors, and overheating in hot climates. Even though the engine is simple and cheap to maintain, many owners report needing a rebuild before 150,000 kilometers, and for a budget-oriented motor, that's not great. That's why this engine lands at number 2, a globally popular motor that just doesn't survive long-term use as well as its competitors. Number 1, Toyota 1ZZ-FE. And finally, number 1, the legendary Toyota 1ZZ-FE, a modern naturally aspirated 2.0-liter engine that proves the era of reliable Japanese motors is far from over. This engine powered everything from the Corolla to the Celica, Avensis, and countless other Toyota models worldwide. Its secret? Minimalism done right. No turbos, no complicated electronics, just solid, proven engineering. With regular oil and filter changes, the 1ZZ-FE easily crosses 400,000 to 500,000 miles, and there are documented cases of over 1 million kilometers. The timing chain lasts decades, the cooling system is rock solid, and repairs remain cheap and straightforward. Mechanics affectionately call it the eternal engine of the modern era. It starts in any weather, handles heat and cold with ease, and keeps smooth power even after decades of use. The 1ZZ-FE is proof that Toyota's reliability isn't just nostalgia. Modern engines can still outlive the cars they're installed in. A perfect finale for a countdown of engines that are literally built to last.